I said the magic words, and these are the magic words that everyone should always remember in all sales, but especially in real estate. What do you want? So there's ways to make things happen. When you need to make them happen, there's ways. And that's why you need a coach. Don't give up. Test, try, do it a little different, try it, do it again, get up, do it again. Life's life. I mean, it's not always going to be great. And you just got to get back up and keep going.
And that is coming up next on Bootstrapping Your Dreams Show, so stay tuned. So, the big question is this. How are ambitious people like us, who don't have a lot of resources, did not go to Ivy League colleges, were not born into wealth, how do we become resourceful enough? Use our creativity, our dedication, and a little bit of crazy to bootstrap our way to realizing our dreams. Whether it is launching a new company, launching a new app, or making it to the top of the corporate ladder. That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. We have created a tremendous community of bootstrappers, entrepreneurs, and professionals who are ambitious, resourceful, and want to get things done. We brainstorm, support, and help each other out. So come join us. Navigate to bootstrapping.group, join today, and get the Startup Founders Technology Accelerator video series absolutely free. If you enjoy this video, then do let us know by hitting that like button now. Or if you want us to improve our content, then go ahead and hit that thumbs down button and give us your honest feedback in the comment section below. Here at Tetanoodle, we are passionate about entrepreneurship, technology, and innovation. Every week, we bring you insightful and engaging videos, interviews, tips, tricks, and strategies to help you grow your business or rise in your corporate profession. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing and do not forget to hit that bell icon so that you are notified when we publish new content. Hello and welcome to this new episode of Bootstrapping Your Dreams Show. I'm your host Manuj Aggarwal, and today we'll be talking with Tamera Aragon. So Tamera founded and has run small businesses since her teenage years. At the age of 20, she founded her first multi-million-dollar company. Since then, she has grown many successful businesses, both online and offline. She discovered her passion in real estate investing in 2003 and has never looked back. Since that time, Tamera has profited investing in hundreds of properties to date, establishing her as an expert in the real estate investing field. Tamera finds her true passion lies in walking others towards success in business of any kind. She has coached hundreds of entrepreneurs to success since 2005. Welcome, Tamera.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Same here. Thank you so much for being with us. And you've had a very successful career. So maybe we start with that. Maybe take us down the memory lane and tell us how you got started. When did you start, apparently in your teenage years in the field of entrepreneurship?
Well, I can even go farther back than that. My very first business was very young. I would take a little red wagon, and what's one thing we all need? I'm just going to answer it for you because there's probably quite a few things, but one thing we all need, I'm looking at over my head, is a light, right? Mm-hmm. So I went door to door with light bulbs. That was my first business. And I remember thinking, man, I think I made a nickel or whatever it was at the time. That seemed like a lot of money. And I thought, all I got to do is bring stuff. I mean, think about what we do today. Bring stuff people want. They're going to be happy that I'm bringing in what they want, and I get to walk away with a profit. I bought them and I doubled my money. What I bought them for? Hey, do you need any light bulbs changed today? Yeah, okay, well here, and walk away. Okay, so that's when it started when I was young. I got the bug. And then I went to college, and I always knew I wasn't really one to, I always had jobs. I, worked my way through college. Nobody gave me a silver spoon or anything. And I just always knew I never really could work for people without me looking at their business and saying, here's a better way. I always could say, if I could just rule the world, it would be a better place. Jokingly, of course.
Yeah.
But I figured out I probably was what I call myself unemployable way back then. I never got fired. In fact, I usually, benefited the companies I was with, but I struggled with wanting to find a better way, I guess. Mm-hmm. So while I was going through college, I put money aside knowing I was going to do something. So I saved, by the time I was 18, $2,500 whopping dollars of my pennies that I saved working all my jobs around paying myself through college. And I knew I was going to do something. Well, I got offered this job. I thought I would go past 2 years of college just because everybody said you should, but I really didn't like it. I just wanted to get out there and do my own thing. But I got offered this position at a company as a retail store, working awful hours, weekends, nights, all that stuff. And then the manager there ended up getting in a situation, without going into details, where they didn't get to come back. So here I was at 20. I was in 2 years in college, out of college, in the summer, and I was being asked to manage one of the biggest stores of a chain of 200 stores in the entire chain. And I was like, okay, because I didn't really have a choice. It's like I was there and they needed someone to do it, and I was a takeover person, so they put me in work. But I was doing it and making good money, and this is where you could get stuck, right? You could get stuck making that kind of money. Making at the time for me was pretty good money, but I just needed to do more. So I continued on this idea, and I was looking around. My degree was in merchandising at a fashion institute in San Francisco. And I thought, there's just a lot of young people stores. I wonder who's taking care of old people. So I looked into it, and I found out there was like 1 or 2 other companies that were bringing elderly people in nursing homes clothes. So I thought, wow, well, there's a niche. So I sent out, now see, you got to think about this. Back in the day, no computers. I had to mail letters and make phone calls to ask the people managing that. So this is like what we should do today, right? Do some market research. I didn't know I was doing this at the time. I just did it. I sent out 50 letters, and I said to these people, who I found out was the category of people who managed it, how do you manage your clothing for elderly in the home, and how do you like doing what you do? I'm going to call you. So look for my call. Called them, found out. They said, hey, great. Yeah, we'd love to have you bring some clothes in, and we'd, so what I thought is, elderly people can't get out, and I thought I'd create a win-win by bringing clothes in and letting them actually pick, choose, and touch what they bought. So that was Clothes Unique that was born. While I was working at that retail store, I remember the day clearly. My uncle sold me a huge like UPS truck. Here I am, this little skinny girl driving this truck with this big wheel. My dad put together a rack. I went to San Francisco, where I was working anyway, and kind of knew, and put some clothes on that rack that I thought they would need. And I remember waving at my dad, in the driveway as I pulled out on that UPS style truck, and I drove it to my first appointment in an evening after work. And I made $500 in an hour that day. And that was that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago. Okay. What was that? 90? So yeah, no, 80. No, it was 82, 1982.
Wow.
And so to make $500 in an hour, I was like, that's it. I'm out. I literally gave my notice the next day to my job. And the rest of that business was history. I did that for about 8 years. So that was my first multi-million-dollar company. My entire family worked for me. Ended up getting multiple vans, going through several states. I figured out how to do a catalog business. I always loved technology. Was one of the first ones to always carry a phone and get a monster-sized computer, and just really had fun with that whole thing.
Nice.
So that was it. That's my success story. My first one.
And then how? So how did you get into real estate, or was it?
Right.
Was that?
No, that was good. No, okay. So what happens is the government changed the way they did business and the way I was getting my money for clothing. So I worked for many years, and then I lost my baby. I called it my baby because it was my baby. But I was also all that in a bag of chips. As a young kid who thought I didn't need anyone, I could just figure it out. I put all my eggs in one basket, and when that business fell, I fell hard. My entire family was out of business. My mom ended up getting cancer and dying. I literally, I mentioned I was in a car accident when we were chatting, and I got it. The culmination of that was probably because I wasn't paying attention because I was so stressed out. got in a serious car accident where I was bedridden for many, many months. And so I really literally went from all that and a bag of chips, millionaire at 20, doing all this to nothing. I mean, literally nothing. I lost my marriage, lost my home to foreclosure, lost everything. But I found my way back. And you asked another question, which was a good question. We have different faiths. It doesn't matter. But I found Jesus right down the street on this little church when I was struggling and barely getting out of bed. I made my way over to this little church, and these people just were so kind. So I had been raised in a church, but never really found that I fit into that mold. Well, I found my faith again. And that really helped me pick myself back up. It was a big part of my turning my life around. The love that those people showed me, and this newfound hope of moving forward. But then now let's talk about business. So then how did you go from that to, okay, so now you're picking yourself back up? Well, I was in a sundry shop in an airport, and I saw on the shelf a book called 1 Minute Millionaire. And I don't know why I felt like it said, hey, buy me. I was like, okay, I'll buy it, So I bought it. I read that book. I don't know if you've ever read it, but it's a book by Mark Victor Hansen and Robert Allen. And Robert Allen wrote the Nothing Down for Real Estate, and Mark Victor Hansen's All the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. So they got together and wrote this book. And I like the way it's written because I'm a little active in my mind. And one side of the book is the how-tos, and the other side of each page is a fiction story. So it's really interesting how they put this book together. But the epiphany, the big thing for me, and now it's so old that everybody knows it, but at the time it wasn't old, and that is multiple streams of income. No one taught me. I wasn't raised as an entrepreneur. I was raised by a very middle-class family. And so, who somebody who worked 12 hours a day to support his 3 kids. So I was like, that's where I messed up. I put all my stuff in one place, and then one of those is investments. One of them is, anyway, what I found is Mark Victor Hansen and Robert Allen were doing an event like a month or 2 after I read the book, only a couple hours up the road in Los Angeles. Wow. So I got in my car, even though I was like struggling financially and trying to pick up the pieces still, and saw the free seminar that they put on. So what happens at those free seminars though, right? Yeah. What?
Well, they first give you a lot of information, then there's a pitch for something to buy.
Exactly. So, but I didn't know that. This is all new to me. But when they put out the offer of, do you want the $5,000, the $25,000, or the $50,000 program, I thought, well, maybe the $5,000 program where I can learn, and I, which area I want to go toward and move forward. So I raised my hand, and then I stood there and thought, wait a minute. After I raised my hand and started walking to the table, I don't have $5,000. So I did what every, I guess, confident woman would do, is I called a friend. And I said that I have an opportunity that I think could really get me back on my feet, but I need some help. Can I put some money on your credit card and pay you 10% over and above that payment on a monthly payment? And I'll pay it off. If I have to work 20 jobs, I'm going to pay this off quickly. It's the best $5,000 I ever spent. So I went and did it and fell in love with real estate. And I loved it because probably of what I just went through with my foreclosure of my home a couple of years prior to that. And I really wished that somebody would have came to me with my newfound knowledge, because I would have been able to help them. And so I found this passion of not just taking people's homes who are in foreclosure, but to write a book on helping them figure out to keep their home if that's what they want to do. So I wrote that book. And then, so instead of going to see sellers and then making an offer, a lowball offer, and buying their house, I actually handed them the book and asked them to read it and make sure that this is the path they wanted to take before I made their offer, and was able to help in another way. So
that's awesome. Awesome story. Isn't it amazing how sort of certain life events, they come together and they actually carve your path for you to take. And, it's just amazing how everything comes together, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I found my sweet spot was helping others find a way out of their muck. And if it means I get to buy their house and they're wanting to be done with it, then great. Then I'm the person. So yeah, that was my first, and then real estate has been what I've been doing since 2003. My very first deal is a good story as well, if you want to hear it. But
sure, yeah, that would be amazing, please. Yeah.
It's a good story. It is an amazing story. It's actually one that you'd think she's lying. She's lying. That really did not happen, but it happened. So I was handwriting my foreclosure letters to people who are looking like they're struggling with payments. And one guy, after about 9 months of not making any money doing all this, still trying to figure it out, called and said, "Hey, I saved your letter I got 6 months ago. I thought I could get out of foreclosure. I can't. Can you come over and make me an offer? Let's see if we can work it out." That was like your dream call, right? You want that call. Only thing is this $5,000 program didn't really teach me how to do contracts. I had no coach. I was like lost out there. So I tried to figure it out, tried to, as best I could. I went down to the title company, the old fashioned. Now everything's online. Got the value of the house, found a realtor's contract and filled in the blanks and went on that appointment. Knocked on the door. The guy opens the door. The house is kind of dark and it smells like cat urine. And I see graffiti on the back wall of the house in the dark. And but he looks sad. I mean, I didn't feel fearful. He just looks sad. So I came in and he said, "Come on in, have a seat on my box." He literally in the middle of the living room sat on a box. I said the magic words, and these are the magic words that everyone should always remember in all sales, but especially in real estate. What do you want? Was my magic question. What do you want? And he said, "I want $20,000 over my mortgage. And if you give me that, I'll take your offer."
I see.
I said, "Well, I already kind of looked," and I quoted him what I thought his mortgage was. And he said, "Yeah, that's about right." I said, "Well, I already wrote the contract. This is perfect. All you got to do is sign." And he signs. And he had ended up, I told me the story that he had lost his wife and was very grateful and had actually kept my letter, because I would always end my foreclosure letters with, "I'm praying for you." And so he said he kept that. And somehow in that letter, he felt I meant what I wrote. And it meant something to him that I said that. So he stands up in a smelly, dark house in a sad state and gives me a little pat on the back, hands me the keys to the house, and digs in his pocket, hands me the keys to the car that was sitting in the driveway and said, "It doesn't work, but you can have that too." Walks out.
Wow.
And there I am sitting in a dark, urine-filled graffiti house with a promise I just made to a man. And I don't even have any idea now what I'm going to do, because I don't have the money to buy this house yet. But I figured it out. So I got some friends together and we went to work as cleaning it up, lightening it up. I did stuff with the car, took care of it. I did something I would never recommend anybody do, which is fix up a house before you own it. I did so many mistakes in this property that when I tell the story, I don't do this ever, especially these days. But I actually went and opened escrow with that. What that means for those of you who don't know is take the little piece of paper into the title company, the contract, with no money. I didn't even put $1 on that contract. So I took the contract in and I started working on the house. I stuck a for sale by owner sign before I owned it on the front yard lawn. And somebody said they wanted to buy it. So I thought to myself, I wonder if I could talk to the title company about using their money to buy it and then just take in the difference. That's called a double closing now. That is a strategy that I didn't know I was using that I made up. And that's exactly what I ended up doing. So I ended up selling the house. The guy got his money. The new family moved in, and I walked away with an $80,000 check.
Wow.
That's it was
awesome.
a $67,000 profit. I will tell you
Nice.
that, because I had a lot of people I owed at the end, but $67,000 is what I profited on my $80,000 check. So that $5,000 I spent with Mark Victor Hansen and Robert Allen on that little training was money well spent.
Nice.
And I was able to pay that off as well.
So that has been a very interesting journey, and your first deal. One question that comes to mind is, do you think things have changed? Do you think that may be possible what you did today as well?
Oh, different ways of working. I have 27 ways to find real estate and 12 different ways to buy it with no money down. Double closings are more difficult now. Title companies have gotten stricter about that particular strategy, but there's another way to make it work, where you can do what they call a short-term loan and close on it and then buy it. Someone will charge you a flat fee to put money directly into title for you. So there's ways to make things happen. When you need to make them happen, there's ways, and that's why you need a coach. That's why people get.
Well, I was going to bring up that point. Like, I mean, what you just said, it just went over my head, because I don't really understand most of the terms you use. But for a newbie, let's say a newbie in your situation wanted to start this, and is it possible for them to get into this, make all the mistakes that typically entrepreneurs will make, and still be able to come out stronger on the other side?
Absolutely. I would say so. I have a program called Locator Gold, locatorgold.com. It's a really good program. It's like a literally no risk way to make money in real estate. If somebody wants to go to locatorgold.com and watch my little 20-minute video. So there's ways to do it. You're not going to make $80,000 on a program like that on one deal, but it certainly is a good way to get your toe in the water. And learn how to find a property for someone like me or other investors who know what they're doing, and just get paid for it and walk away.
I see.
But in the process, you learn the process. And then pretty soon you say, well, gosh, I'm finding them for them. Maybe I'll keep this one and try to figure out another way to make a little more money with it. So there's so many strategies. Exit strategies are called when you're working in real estate, whether you buy and hold, or buy land, or buy residential properties. The exit strategy is where you make the money, right? You don't make the money when you spend the money, you make the money when you get the money. So I'm really working a lot right now with lease options with a guy who is really good at what he does in that area. And right now, that market, when the market's starting to tip over just a little right now, if anybody's listening, it's tipping. So it's not plummeting, but it's tipping. That's a very good strategy. And no, I wouldn't necessarily right now go into what that is, but it's a really good strategy for people that don't require any money out of your pocket to do it, and make pretty darn good, checks, $8,000 to $20,000 checks right out the chute. So
nice. Okay, so now let's talk about the other aspect of entrepreneurship. You went through a lot. You said that you built a huge company which you ended up losing, and then you had to start over. Most people, for them, it may be too difficult to pick themselves up from that point and then build it again, let alone starting from scratch in the first place. So what do you attribute that to? Like, what is the difference between how you think, your mindset, and others that you may have noticed? Because I feel that is one of the components, key components of successful entrepreneurs. They have a different way of looking at things, a different way of dealing with failure. So can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, a couple of different things. Number one, we all have our gifts, and one of mine that I've tested out for and confirm and already kind of knew is faith. I tend to see the cup half full. I tend to, we all have our down moments. Don't get me wrong. I'm always like, oh, that's great. No, it's not always great, but I do have faith. And sometimes that's hard to find when you're in the muck, when things are not going the way, there's some horrible things happening to people. And I was like, how can you have faith through that? And I think my faith is what has got me through. My faith in a higher power, in Jesus, for me, it is really important to me. And that initially kept me going. And then, of course, my faith in my future and just looking for a bigger, a better way. And my never give up. You know, Winston Churchill is never, 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 with about 10 more nevers, give up. Is, I think, a really important thing that people need to remember, especially when they're building businesses. It's so easy to get frustrated and think, gosh, you know, Tamera did it and now it's not working out like that for me. Don't give up. Test, try, do it a little different, try it, do it again, get up, do it again. Life's life. I mean, it's not always going to be great, and you just got to get back up and keep going. And
that's so true. And now let's just take that a little bit further. You mentioned that you had good friends to support you in your time of need. So I mean, I totally get it. Like, you know, you need to keep going, but you also need a good support system behind you. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I did have a lot of friends and family that were around me. But during that time, you know, you find a lot of friends fail you as well. I mean, they're all there when you got money and things are going right. But when things start falling apart, they kind of go by the wayside. But I definitely had some people in my life that gave me, listened to me, encouraged me. And, you know, I think that was really important. But I had to kind of reach out to make that happen too. So even that, I mean, you know, if I just stayed in my little hole when I was bedridden in the house, you know, I mean, I had to step out a little bit and ask for some help. So I think when we're in that place, we need to be not afraid to allow others to be there for you. And that was hard for someone like me too, because I just like, you know, I got this, you know, and I didn't have it. So I just admitted it to a few people, and they were happy to come alongside and be there for me. So
cool. And this one last quick question. We were talking about habits and rituals. So can you just give us very quickly, what are some of the rituals that you use in your daily life which have helped you be successful?
I think one of the best ones, that was the hardest one, I never could understand how people could do it because I was never a morning person, is getting up early before everybody else and spending time with God. I eat a little breakfast and then I head off to the gym nearly every day. And I listen to some good positive words of wisdom, you know, some personal development stuff, some stuff that helps me grow my business during that time. So I'm multitasking. I got God, I got my exercise, and then I come home and I have some time to breathe and get ready. That is like, when I don't get that in my day, I notice my day doesn't go nearly as smooth, and my attitude isn't even as good if I don't get that hour or so in the morning. So whatever that looks like for, you know, I think there's a book called The Miracle Morning or something like that. So, you know, I was doing it before that book came out, but I so agree that that's a real important habit. And also, this is a good one. I'm a Google freak. My friends tease me, "Oh, you're Miss Google." Yeah, I am. And that's because I use my task list, my calendar. I have my emails well managed, and set my goals before I go to bed at night, process them during that morning ritual. I want to say pray about it, but I mean, I kind of look it over, have a vision for my day before it begins.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, thank you so much for being with us and sharing very interesting stories and educating us. Now, before I let you go, can you tell us how people can reach out to you?
Yeah, there's a couple different things. I think we mentioned I know you have a tech background, so you might have some people on here that might be interested in a couple things. Passions2profits.com, passions2profits.com. I offer a cheat sheet on how to launch your business, and there's some good resources on there. I've also put together Your Funnel Done For You. In all my 10 or 12 years of doing online business, because I never got to that part, but doing real estate, people would ask me how to do it. So then I started putting stuff online, teaching how. And then I had some other businesses, but in doing so, I learned a little bit about the internet. So Your Funnel Done For You is actually me building my team a funnel, which is do you know what a funnel is?
Yeah, of course.
You know that term. Your group will know that term. So it's actually a funnel, which is, they say, the best way to be selling things right now. And it's very inexpensive. For the real estate side, REI Posse, Posse, like my posse, REI Posse, real estate investing posse.com gives you about 30 days of free resources and training on how to get started on real estate. No cost. You just become a part of my posse, reiposse.com.
Cool. Awesome. Great.
Thank
you so much.
You've been such a pleasure to visit with you. Thank you for having me.
And that's all for now. Until next time. Now, if you're an entrepreneur or a career professional, then I invite you to join our growing community. Navigate to bootstrapping.group. As a welcome bonus, you will get the Startup Founders Technology Accelerator video series and Mastering Your Inner Game video series absolutely free. This series of short videos address some core issues which are instrumental in helping you move forward in your business or career. The videos are yours to view and share for free. No obligations or strings attached, except for one. You have to take action and implement it. So join us today. Navigate to bootstrapping.group. If you want more engaging videos and insightful interviews with industry's thought leaders, then check out the other videos we have picked for you. The link is right there. And if you want to be notified about our new content, please do consider subscribing to our channel.